Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And, members, this has honestly always been a bit of a hard day to come down and speak on this resolution at the well, because we are all speaking about the memory of and in the shadow of one of the most significant people in our country in the 20th century, maybe in the world. So I've always felt the weight of trying to measure up. It's probably just appropriate to note that, maybe none of us ever will. When the resolution was being read this morning, some of the details about Dr. King's life were really hitting me. Again, finishing a PhD at age 26, doing the math right, and then those 13 years and just some of the things that we heard about in the resolution and that we all know more about, from 1955 to 1968. Astonishing. Absolutely astonishing. The leadership role of Dr. King in that time in our history. In years past, you can find this online in an MP3. I've listened to the entire speech. It's about 16 or 17 minutes. Maybe the most consequential speech in the entirety of the 20th century for the moment that it represented, for the way that it captured everything that had happened up to that point, and the way that it galvanized so much that then went into motion after that point, some of which we just heard about. But what I think is particularly on my mind in terms of what Dr. King has said, what's particularly on my mind this year, particularly in the times that we've all been coming through, are the words that my colleague from Aurora already alluded to, the fierce urgency of now. In 1963, Dr. King said, "We have come to this hallowed spot to remind America of the fierce urgency of now." So we must focus on what Dr. King was there to achieve. The ability to vote and participate in decisions that are made in this country and to elect people who make those decisions. But I think it's equally important to note what Dr. King had to say to us then and now about the when and also the how, and not just the what. And the when is now, with that fierce urgency, or at least as close to it as we can manage. Because to wait, which is the opposite of now, is a kind of privilege. And it is a privilege that not everybody has in equal measure. So when people struggle to afford housing, let's remember the fierce urgency of now. When our healthcare workers are struggling, as we all know that they are, let's remember the fierce urgency of now. Or when our teachers are struggling in ways that we've all alluded to here just in the last few days, let's remember the fierce urgency of now. Or when gains that have been made in this state and in other states concerning the franchise are called into question, let's remember the fierce urgency of now. 1963, Dr. King went on to say more about how in connection with when. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. And that registers even more loudly with me now than it has in the past. Because we find ourselves in an increasingly polarized time. I think we all feel that. Contest about values is always okay. That's what it means to be in a diverse, sometimes fractious country with a representative system. Contest over vision is okay. We talked about that the other day. But what is not okay is demonization and otherization. We can't cross the line from a healthy contest to unhealthy other. Dr. King knew too well where that goes. History, in other ways, has taught us far too much about where that goes for us to forget those lessons. So as we do our work here, this year, I hope that we all remember that we're all people of strong passion, or we wouldn't be here. I'm a person of strong passion. I don't apologize for that, but I'm going to hold myself to that so that we don't fall into the darker part of human nature as we are here to advocate for what we believe in and to right wrongs and to seek justice. I think that is how we stay true to the legacy of Dr. King. Thank you.